Welcome back, you Filthy Exiles. So we got some more confirmed updates today around Path of Exile 2, so I thought, why not, let's do a video. In particular, we finally have some information about the supporter packs and the minimum cost, which, by the way, we were right, it's about $30. And let's have a quick look at the history of Path of Exile 1 around that too, but anyway, there was also some new unique item art, which has some really cool items coming back to the game. And anyway, let's talk about that in case you missed it. Okay, so essentially they've announced that the supporter packs are coming to an end. So their original supporter packs for the last core supporter pack for 2024, and I think they did this annually, so they would have like one supporter pack series. I'm sort of tempted to buy these, but also at the same time, I really want to spend money on the Path of Exile 2 supporter pack. So basically they say here, during our upcoming GGG live broadcast, which is in like, what, 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, so on Friday this week if you're in Australia, we'll be 21st of November. We will release a new series of supporter packs with keys to early access in Path of Exile 2, so we know that it was a paid sort of thing. So essentially, these packs will replace the current packs, so, you know, you won't be able to get the old packs. It is what it is. Now, when we have a look at the X, we do note that they had this little thing here, and basically they said, unlike our tiers of core supporter packs, early access packs will begin at $30. So that was the speculation that we had, and let me explain where we got that information from, that they would most likely do $30 supporter packs for the early access. Okay, so this is the original open beta supporter packs that came out with Path of Exile 1, for anyone who doesn't know. I think I covered this off on a video a little while ago. So essentially, we got the idea of a $30 supporter pack because this was the original open beta supporter pack, right? Which is basically what this is. They call it early access, but what it is open beta, okay? The next one was a $50 pack, which was Regal supporter. I actually have this one from memory, so I bought the $50 pack, and I didn't buy any more, and at the time, I didn't think it would be awesome to have a more expensive pack, and also, I was a broke-ass uni student back then, so I couldn't afford more than 50 bucks, but I regret nothing. Now, next we had Divine Supporter Pack, which was 110 USD. It's very likely that we're going to get very similar packs, by the way. The Exalted was next, and this came with like a t-shirt, a Tabula Rasa t-shirt, a keychain. Like, these are some OG things, and very likely, and they mentioned this in that announcement, that there's going to be an emphasis on shipping, so probably we're going to get some cool stuff. Then we had like an Eternal supporter pack, which was $1,500. And as you can imagine, you got some pretty dope stuff, right? So you got a rower pat, you got the Eternal weapon effect, the Eternal rower. If you ever saw someone with one of these, they really sunk some cash in. To be honest with you, my price sensitivity now is if they have something like this, I'm probably going to spend money on it. And then we had the Ruler of Ray class. Now, from the last video I put up around this, it was basically like, I think like 7 people bought this in the entirety of the game, and it was a $12,500 pack. I don't know if they're going to go that extreme this time. Maybe they will, and if they do, it'll be freaking hilarious to find out who, you know, throws cash at it, but nothing but respect for who does. But anyway, that's basically the gist of the packs. I'll put a link to this in the description. And interestingly enough, there was also the closed beta supporter packs too, which I never really thought about. I bought one of these. So, I bought the original early access or closed beta supporter pack. I have the Kiwi Pet, so I spent $25 on the closed beta as well. There was a bronze pack for $50, $100, $250, and then we had diamond supporter pack, which is where I'm sort of like, I feel like they'll mash this together because they didn't really have a difference between the two, and so we'll probably get a $1,000 supporter pack, and it'll be sort of $30 starting and then gear up to like 50, 100, 250, 1000 would make a lot of sense. But, you know, we'll find out in a couple of days, right? And then those supporter packs will replace the old supporter packs. And I'm really interested in a $1,000 pack these days, just because how cool would it be to be, you know, in ownership of, like, now think about it, the Diamond Kiwi Pet would have been freaking awesome to have in game. Anyway, that's what I'm excited about. Let's talk about some of the other announcements that came out today for Path of Exile 2. Okay, so we got some new art reveals in relation to the items that are coming into Path of Exile 2 for the new uniques. I will say these look fantastic. So Frostbreath is actually one of my favorite weapons from playing a number of melee jugs like years ago, or not years ago, but leagues ago. It worked really well with crystallized omniscience builds, and the Icetomb was just like this trash drop that you get, but now I feel like it's going to be really good. Lochonial as well is usually a set of gloves I use when I'm leveling almost every single character, and I thought I'd compare these, and Veil of the Night was always a crap drop, right? But let's talk about these and have a look at what the Path of Exile 2 version is versus the old version and what basically could be happening with these items moving forwards. I'm really excited. That character looks awesome, by the way, so if this is the art direction they're taking, you know, we're only going to see great things out of Path of Exile 2. Okay, so the first item is obviously Veil of the Night, so let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that the artwork just looks spectacularly better. And we know that how the items look in Path of Exile 2, the art's been translated into the in-game character model, so basically what you see is what you're going to see on your character, which is the new art design that they're taking. And that, if you want to have a look at that sort of section that they covered off, that was actually a discussion around art design and itemization in the ExileCon event from 2023. Yeah, 2023. So basically, the old item was like just a vendor trash item. Elemental resistance is a 0, which was totally useless. And then you increase global defenses. It's like a real legacy item that was in the game from, you know, pretty early on in the piece. And never really got upgraded or adjusted over the years. If I have a look at the patch data, it actually came into the game in patch 1.0.4, so this was an item that was just like a total legacy item. But yeah, no, it's good to see that they're bringing a patch 1.0 item back into a position of glory in patch 1.0. Again, it's just like a nostalgia bait almost at this stage. But again, really cool item. I have no idea where they may take this. I have a feeling that they may actually make this like a directional block or a block item, considering the old stats was around stun and block recovery, but it's basically anybody's guess. The really interesting thing here is it reflected lightning damage to attackers, and we definitely know that there's you know, potentially cast on block, cast on shock, things like that. So potentially you could have a max block cast on shock build, which is just a wild concept to even think about, that you would block enough, build that up to your shock cap, and then basically, you know, destroy your enemies with that. I have no idea. It's just an idea, but yeah, otherwise, really cool change to the art style. I can't wait to see what they do with this item. Now, in relation to Frostbreath, I actually really like this item. I played this on Crystallized Omniscience Jugs and Zerkers like many leagues ago. This was a really strong item, and the main stat was that it basically worked on attacks with this weapon deal double damage to chilled. I have a feeling that this might actually be a freeze cap item. So basically, you get an increased level of damage when you hit your freeze cap, or potentially you trigger something from hitting your freeze cap. And basically you do tons of damage with, you know, if you dual wielded these, and then you would have like melee until you eventually hit freeze cap with cast on freeze, or potentially you could use this to cast a bigger and better skill. Alternatively, it might just be a double damage retransposition of the old item, but it's hard to tell at this stage. The other thing is there was a replica variant of this which converted all damage to chaos damage. This could also bleed into the fact that maybe replica items, it could be a hint that replica items may be coming back into the game. And in fact, when I think about all the items, there is a replica Icetomb item as well that's in the game. So 3 out of the 4 items, I believe, have replica variants, and that could be a hint to say that potentially there are replicas coming back into the game. That being said, we'll just have to see what we get announced to us on the 21st. The last item hinted is the Icetomb. Now, the more that I look at these items in this video, the more I see like a hint at what could be a potential build. So one of the concerns is that the game won't be highly fluid, right? But I see here you've got potentially a weapon that could hit freeze cap or increase damage by hitting freeze cap. You've got a then chest piece being the Icetomb, which then basically has 20% chance to freeze enemies for 1 second when they hit you, right? So what that would mean, if that stat is transferred in some form where that applies to total cap, potentially there is a lot of reduction of cap reaching, so potentially you could have like a ward looping cast on, you know, freeze build sort of setup or something of that nature. Or potentially it could be a melee variant of the build where basically if you get hit, you're playing a heavy, like, chonky character. If you get hit, the more you get hit, the more you freeze the enemy, the more you basically lock it down. Now, there is a timer on, you can't perma-freeze or perma-stun enemies, but it could be so frequent that basically everything that touches you will freeze, and then basically you just sort of bonk things on the head and kill them really quickly with combinations. Now, I'm thinking that this is actually now a hint at a potential build variation, and then you could then synergize like power charges to power up your attacks or something of that nature. But then again, we'll have to just see what the case is. I'm thinking potentially this could be like a monk sort of setup, or if not a monk, this could be like a warrior setup of some sort of nature. And now this has got me build cooking, and I cannot stop thinking about what we might be able to do. But anyway, beyond that point, really good to see the Icetomb getting remade. Again, this is like a legacy item from the very start of Path of Exile. So this item was actually brought in 3.19, in patch 2.0.0, right? So this was like, again, a very old item that's been reimagined. And originally this was actually built as 150% increased chill duration on enemies, and then they essentially changed the item so you cannot be chilled. You had resistances and chance to freeze enemies for 1 second when they hit you. This, actually thinking on it, could have made some pretty cool Path of Exile 1 builds, but freezing enemies realistically wasn't that useful, not the same way that it will be in Path of Exile 2. I feel like there is a whole build archetype that could potentially come from using freeze mechanics. Anyway, another really cool item, and I'm really glad that they've hinted at this because, yeah, I am totally there for it. Okay, so if you're enjoying these videos, I have tons of Path of Exile 2 ideas and things that I'll be getting into for when the game comes out. I will be live streaming on the announcement day as well from 5 AM. I got the day off work, so I am going to be there with everybody. So if you want to join me on the live stream, definitely drop down to the Twitch below, and I'll be multicasting on both YouTube and Twitch that day, because I won't be playing music, so YouTube can't boot my stream. But also, beyond that point, if you like the channel, don't forget to like and sub. There will be tons of builds that I'll be putting together. I definitely will be looking into any and all combinations around using shields, heavy defensive builds, and now apparently Icetomb, because now I want to make an Icetomb build because it sounds dope. And beyond that too, there's a link down below to Mobalytics, so I'll be doing some stuff with them moving forwards as well for builds. And anyway, let's keep the hype train going, and I will see you guys in the next video, probably tomorrow night. But have a good one, and I'll see you guys later.